New details on Russian interference in the 2016 election and how it ties to Facebook ads. Carol Lee is joining me now from New York there with some of this exclusive reporting. Carol, walk us through what we are just learning.
Sure. Thanks, Hallie. What we know from two people familiar with these Facebook ads, they tell NBC News that the list of states that these Russian-tied ads targeted during the campaign includes not just Michigan and Wisconsin, which has been reported, but also Maryland, New York, California, Texas, Ohio, and Missouri. And specifically on Ohio and Missouri, we're told that they were targeted to those states because they had seen police violence. And we know that these ads have been, in part, were aimed at sowing racial divisions. And that is what these particular ads in Ohio and Missouri were believed to be designed to do. Now, the interesting thing about this, and by the way, I should mention, this is not, we were told, a definitive list of states. But what it gives us a broader picture of how Russia was using these ads to target. And what it suggests is that there was not necessarily what you would consider a traditional, presidential politics targeting, because as you know, states like New York and California are not states that are in play and decisive in a presidential election.
So, Carol, let me set up the backdrop to this, because as I'm looking at my clock here, in about 2 hours and 15 minutes, we expect to see the leaders of the Senate Intelligence Committee over on Capitol Hill giving reporters effectively a status update on the state of the Senate intelligence investigation into Moscow's meddling. Your reporting is now coming after there was originally word that perhaps these ads had maybe just targeted Michigan and Wisconsin, rather. What you're saying is this was bigger than that maybe a quarter of these ads were geographically targeted, correct? And it wasn't just states that were sort of favorable potentially to somebody like Donald Trump.
Right. And speaking to sources about this, they were saying if there was a Republican operative guiding the hand of Russia in targeting these ads, that person should be fired, because this is not how you would necessarily target ads if you were trying to get a Republican candidate or even a Democratic candidate to win. And so it gives a picture, a larger picture than we've had so far. And you're right, it comes ahead of this press conference, and also as the Senate committees and the special counsel's investigation begin to really drill down on this use of Russia's use of social media to interfere with the election.
And interestingly, Carol, and as I'm reading this breaking news that is just now getting up on our website, reported out by you and Casey Hunt, who will be joining us momentarily, you talk about how some of these ads were targeted to states that saw police violence or incidents of violence involving police and specifically African-American victims, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, Missouri in particular, everyone remembers Ferguson. And, the ads were targeted there. They were targeted in Ohio because of a shooting in Cleveland that had similar overtones. And so it's just part of what we already know that Russia did, which is try to take these very divisive issues among Americans and really exacerbate them. It wasn't just race, but it was other issues. And so, more so than necessarily running what you would think of as a traditional ad, supporting certain candidate or something like that. These were, ads that were designed to stoke divisiveness on these sorts of issues, so social issues, race issues, and otherwise.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.